Right now on show number 4, it's a lot of sport bikes with some dirt, ice, more dirt, pavement, another bit of dirt, and a national champion all thrown in. And another motorcycle slang word for you. All that and more on Greg's Garage. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Greg's Garage. I'm your host, Greg White. This show is a general power sports lifestyle show with a focus on motorcycles, but over time, we'll have so much more. But today's show is full of fast and fun. Let's begin with one of my favorite things to bring you, some news. Question: who has $40,000 laying around? Anyone? 40K? Sure, I need sponsors for the show, but that's not why I'm asking. I'm asking because $40,000 will get you something very cool. The Gibbs Quad Ski. It's a soup that eats like a meal. No, wait a second. It's an ATV that acts like a boat, or a boat that acts like an ATV. Either way, this kick-ass little ride features a 175 horsepower BMW engine and transmission, weighs 1,300 pounds, has a 15-gallon tank, and is available in 5 colors. Now, Gibbs says it has come up with a new HSA, or high-speed amphibian 4-cylinder power plant that's the lightest in the segment. Gibbs also says it's got 45 miles an hour on land and water. Now, they have 2 dealers in Florida and 1 in Texas, but you can check out their website for more information. If you have one, please send me a message at show@gregsgaragetv.com. I have got to hear about it. And in the I have no video to support this next story file, Yamaha Japan said Wednesday the 10th of April that in India, they're developing the world's cheapest motorcycle priced at $500. And the plan is to export it to other markets. Now, the engine size is going to be around 100 cc's. There was no announcement of the launch date, but it'd be interesting to see a Yamaha at $500 right here in the US, but I seriously doubt it. And the American Motorcyclists Association has dubbed April AMA Go Ride Month. All month long, the AMA is encouraging people to go out and ride with support of Helmet House, Shoei, Helmet Lock, which you saw right here on the show last time, and BikeBandit.com. The AMA is providing information, entertainment, contests, and prizes, so go check out the link provided on the show page for their website and Facebook page for more information. And now it's time for a little entertainment of our own. That part of the show we call Worldwide Video. In this segment, I scour the web looking for cool power sports videos so you can check them out. Let's start you off with some motocross type stuff. Rockstar Events puts out a cool video series called Beyond the Finish Line, starring Davey Millsaps, Jason Anderson, Ryan Sipes, and more. This highlight from episode 5 called Where It All Started.
I'm here in New Mexico right now. I really wanted to come here just to get like a mental break. You know, I always miss coming back home. I have to go to California a lot, and I wish I could be here more than I am. The motocross scene out here is actually kind of dead. I mean, everyone that still rides are pretty much the diehards that will ride whatever. Our one track closed down. It was Moriarty MX, which was all right track, but there was a bunch of people that used to come race down here, and it was my local track. It was where I grew up, and there's a lot of good memories there. I had some fun times racing there, you know. Hopefully, maybe it could pick back up sometime. You know, just something going on out there, because it sucks to see it the way it is right now. The other day we went riding trails with Tyler, and that was a blast. I love going riding back there. You could always find new trails. People wouldn't expect to be in New Mexico because everyone expects it to be a desert, but you know, those trails go forever, and kind of a cool, unique thing that we have here.
New Mexico riding looks awesome. Anyway, this next one takes us from the desertscape of the Southwest to frozen water. It's ice drifting.
a close vinyl and a front vinyl, it's year-round for
And how about this gem from Verb Moto? The J-Day Off-Road Series ventured outside of New England to Florida and Bostwick Creek on March 9th. The video highlights, they're called Jones Brothers J-Day Payday, and it's a lot of fun.
How we doing today? Verb Moto, Bostwick, Jones Bros, dude, it's gonna be a beautiful day. We got Satilli in the house.
Howdy, you're testing out the new Suzuki. Got a brand new piston ring in here. Should be good on the dead engine start. Open it fires up first kick. Rip that hole shot. Rip the motocross section. Take it in the woods in first.
We got Marshall.
I guess you call it our spring break, and you know, it's a good time. We go out, we have some fun, and hang out with some good friends, do some riding, do some racing, and enjoy life.
Being originally from Massachusetts, I kind of recognize those accents. More information about this GP-style series is on the show page. And what would a Greg's Garage be without the fun and shenanigans of good old Robbie Bobby? This time, Thunder and the crew are in Florida for some supermoto action. So we'll take you out of my garage, and we're taking Greg's Garage on the road to Irvine, California at Kawasaki's headquarters, where they let me spend the day on the new Ninja 300. A closer look at the new Kawasaki Ninja 300 reveals new styling cues from its bigger brother, the ZX-10R. Dual headlights with built-in turn signals give it a more aggressive look, and that tail section, sharper and narrower. But underneath the bodywork is where things get better. The foundation of it all, the chassis, is similar in design to the 250 it replaces, but now it's 150% stiffer, giving it more feel and making it less flexy, if that's a word. Now the chassis houses the 296cc parallel twin power plant with, wait for it, digital fuel injection. The fuel injection allows for all kinds of great stuff like better starts, better throttle response, blah blah blah, but it's that fuel mileage that gets me. More on that in a bit. But a very cool Rodeo Drive upscale feature built into the engine, the FCC slipper clutch. Now it lightens clutch feel, and Kawasaki moved the lever closer to the bar, so those who have smaller hands will experience less fatigue in stop-and-go traffic or on your all-day rides. Now the slipper part, that helps control rear wheel hop in those times when you've done a sloppy downshift. Great for new riders and us sloppy old riders as well. And a couple other things. This Ninja has new 10-spoke wheels with a bigger rear tire, a 140/70/17, which adds up to better handling, and available anti-lock brakes as well. I got to test that one. So I had a nice day of riding this Ninja 300 and got great impressions. You know, the 250, which now the 300 replaces, was a really good motorcycle and a bit of a starter bike. You know, people would say they would outgrow it and they'd want to go to the next motorcycle. But this Ninja 300 is quite different. There's a lot of refinements in this motorcycle that make it so. It's got nearly 40 horsepower, comes in at 39 horsepower. The frame is now 150% stiffer, which gives it great handling. The instrument cluster is designed much different. Analog and digital, very easy to see. There's a new rear tire, 140 now, which gives it a more planted feel. Now, when you get down to the engine, the digital fuel injection gives it better gas mileage than the 250, taking it to around 70 or even better if you're easy on the throttle. With a 4.5 gallon tank, that takes you to 315 miles per tank. Now, add in a slipper clutch for those new riders who are doing those downshifts that create the chirping and the hopping. Now that's eliminated, and this is one sophisticated motorcycle. For $47.99, you can get the base model. For another couple $100, you can get the special edition paint job. Add another $500 to that, takes you to $5,499 at the dealership, and you can get ABS on this motorcycle. The Ninja 300. Awesome. Even with a rider my size at 6'3", I had plenty of leg room, plenty of room to move my arms. Instrument cluster, ergonomics were fantastic. The mirrors were great. The only real thing I would have to say about this bike, the seat is a little narrow for a guy my size, and it got a little rough after a couple hours, but that's not a problem. I just stop, stretch my legs, and I'm ready to roll. So get down to your Kawasaki dealer and definitely check out the Ninja 300. This motorcycle is worth having in your stable of bikes for a long, long time. Now, one guy who loves to have fun on a motorcycle, no matter what size it is, 2010, 11, and 12 AMA Pro Superbike champion Josh Hayes. We welcome Josh to the show via Skype. Hi, Joshy.
How's it going, Greggy?
It's good. How you doing, man?
Going well. I'm liking seeing this Greg's Garage thing.
Ah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So for those that are tuning in, you know, maybe not knowing Josh Hayes, who you are, what you're about, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name's Josh Hayes. Ride for Monster Energy Graves Yamaha on a Superbike. Won the championship a couple of times. Got a few race wins in the books. Not this year, unfortunately, but you know, I'm doing a lot of training, getting ready for it. From the South, from Mississippi originally, and Southern California now. And then the big tough part, I've got a wife that races too. So quite a challenging, as challenging as motorcycle racing in every way, I promise.
Tell us about your racing career. How did you get started and how long have you been doing it?
Well, I'm a bit of a late bloomer, especially compared to most of the kids that I'm racing against. Got my first street bike as a senior in high school. Year later, went and tried club racing as a hobby. I was working full time, and it was just the first time I could afford to do something like that, and I gave it a shot. Pretty fortunate, I did pretty good. Got a little bit of help to continue the next season, where I met the beautiful Greg White. Traveled around quite a bit together. And, you know, every year it seemed like things just got a little bit better. You know, I got a little support for my third year racing, kind of maintained that support for the next 3 years. And then lo and behold, one day, a lot of good people helping me, a lot of being in the right place at the right time, and Lord knows a lot of luck. Somebody asked me if I wanted to make it a full-time job and get paid to actually do it. So here I am, man, I think 15 years later, 13 years that I've been in AMA Pro Racing, and still going. I remember Tom Kipp being my teammate back in 2002, and he was like, man, I've been in this paddock a decade. And I was like, dude, you're old. Here I am. And it's like, you know, 14 or 15 years, and I don't feel that old.
All right, so you've been in the paddock a long time, and you say you won the 3 Superbike races, but there's also some other championships and a lot of race wins along the way, right?
Yeah, you know, I won one of my first races in AMA Pro Racing. I won 750 Super Sport at Daytona in 1999. It was my first kind of time into AMA racing as part of a big team. I had tried 1 or 2 on-off races before that with some okay results, but that was my first real go at it, and I won my first race. And then it was like it was a 3-year drought, 4-year drought until I won again at Laguna Seca on 750 Super. Well, at the time I went to 750 Super Stock, and I went on to win the championship that year in the Super Stock category. Did a couple of years on a factory supported Superbike. Wasn't a factory machine though. And then went back to the 600 classes where I rode Formula Extreme and 600 Super Sport, and had some real good success there and won 2 Formula Extreme championships. A lot of race wins in that and Super Sport until Yamaha finally gave me my opportunity. And here I am in Superbike, second my first year in that championship, and won the 3 since. So pretty amazing.
That's yeah, a pretty amazing career, no question about it. So for those that may be wondering what Superbike's all about, it seems elemental to us. We've been around it a long time, but just kind of give us the broad strokes of the series. What is it about and where do we go?
You know, I get a lot of questions about that, and especially comparing it to MotoGP, which is out there and pretty easy to find on television. MotoGP would be what I would consider the Formula One of motorcycle racing. It's prototype motorcycles. Superbikes, we have several domestic championships. I raced in the U.S. domestic championship on a production-based bike. So it starts off with the same bike you can go buy from a dealership, and then you turn it into a race bike, which has its own little set of complications, and go racing all over the country.
So Superbike, that term is thrown around a lot with street bikes and it's a superbike, and some people call it crotch rockets or whatever, but you actually ride a proper superbike here in the United States. Tell us a little bit about that machine. How much does it weigh, how much power, and what's it like to ride?
You know, the bike is definitely a handful. It's pretty amazing that there are 7 people on my crew that make a full-time job of building me 2 motorcycles. So every piece on that bike gets massaged and worked on. It's a pretty incredible machine. The weight limit for our class is around 370 pounds. Horsepower, over 200. I don't know exactly how much, but I know it's over 200. And, you know, with the adjustments we're able to make with the Olin suspension and a lot of the hard work that the guys put in, we're able to get an amazing amount of grip. So we're seeing just over 200 miles an hour at Daytona. Most other racetracks, we're 175 to 190 mile per hour top speed. And, you know, the bike's quite a handful. Whenever you get that much horsepower, that much grip, that much braking power in the Brembo brakes and the braking rotors, you know, like, the thing can get very complicated. It can kind of twist itself into knots, and it gets to be quite an art form, I think, to get a good handle on how to get fast lap times out of a machine that edgy, you know, that violent. So
how do you practice on a superbike? We see motocross guys, they get to have tracks in their backyard or go motocross tracks all the time, but road racers are a little different, aren't they? They have certain times when they can actually get on the track and ride.
It's so funny because all my cycling buddies, they go, "What do you do?" You know, because I'm always out riding my bicycle and I'm always riding motocross. You know, we don't get to ride motorcycles very much. When I became a professional, it was honestly the least amount of motorcycle riding I got to do in all my career, because all of a sudden, you know, with races and testing, we were quite honestly limited to, I might get to ride a motorcycle anywhere between 35 and 40 days a year. Which really isn't that much considering 33 of them are race weekends, you know? So it's very, very expensive to take a superbike and go testing at a racetrack, get insurance, you know, track rentals, all those kind of things. So it makes it pretty tough for us to go out testing, and we don't get to practice a lot. So I spend a lot of time doing other things, but fortunately for us, everybody's kind of in the same boat. There's no one person that's out there getting more laps than everybody else, and it's showing when they get to the racetrack. So.
All right, thanks, Josh. We'll have more with him in a little bit. You know, there's a lot of great motorcycles out there. Even the Ninja 300 with 39 ponies can get you in trouble with the law. For some riders, the street is enough, but for others, they want something less restrictive. And what they've found is simply called track days.
VIR South, having an enjoyable track day in beautiful weather.
Now, track day is an event where you can ride your motorcycle as fast as you want on an enclosed, multi-turn paved road course. But it's much more than that.
It's the ability to ride your motorcycle in a controlled environment. There's no cars coming at you. There's no police. There's no speed limit. There's no gravel in the road.
and you just get to go out there and have fun and work on your skills.
All right, here's how it works. Get yourself the proper safety gear, helmet, boots, gloves, and a 1 or 2-piece leather suit. You prep your motorcycle at home, tape up or remove lights, take off mirrors. Each organization around the world has their own rules, but most of the time it's pretty simple stuff. When you arrive, you get your motorcycle and gear through the tech inspection line, ensuring everyone has good, safe equipment. Then it's off to the riders' meeting, an extensive conversation about what the day is going to be like, procedures, what they expect from you, etc. The beginners will have another meeting after to help relieve any anxiety and go over more details. When all that is done, you get suited up and you line up to get on the track. Now Nesba, who we're with today, breaks riders up depending on riding level.
We run 3 rotations. We run an advanced group of guys that have exhibited some very advanced skills in terms of their pace, in terms of their line, and their consistency and the proficiency on their motorcycle. We've got an intermediate group, which just is a step below that, where we try to control the environment a little bit more and not have inside passing, a little bit safer. And then we have a beginner group. That's for anybody that comes out. We try to control the safety there by not having any passing in a corner, because that's where most incidents take place. So it's a very safe environment, passing down straightaways, giving people a lot of room and courtesy. But those are the 3 groups that we try to run throughout the day.
For Richmond, Virginia's Linda Morris, the beginners group provides comfort and confidence.
In the beginners group, there's no passing except for on the straightaways, so you feel confident with that. But they have control riders that get out there and ride with you and watch you and tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So they're a great group of people that really come to help you learn more.
Justin Garrett, who's been riding less than a year, made the 600-mile drive from Indianapolis, Indiana, to give his first track day a go. We caught up with him 2 sessions into the first day and asked him what it was like.
Well, the first time it was a lot of nervousness. I didn't really know what to expect. I'm like, well, I know I drive probably a little aggressive on the street, and it's okay to do it here, so let's just see what happens. Nesba has been awesome so far. I mean, I like their family environment. I like everybody's approachable, so I can just speak with them, have any questions I have, they'll answer it. They provide feedback. After my second session, I was really carrying too much speed through those off-camber ones, a little too early on the throttle, and I was just, leaning the bike way more than I should, and he gave me some positive feedback on what I need to address, don't get on the throttle so early, hit that apex, then get on the throttle, lift the bike up, and so.
Starting his second year of track days, intermediate group rider Dennis Bronner recalls his reservations about participating.
Not keeping up, not being able to go with the other guys, not to be able to keep up, but that's not what it's about. It's about out here with you to be able to ride how you want to ride within your comfort zone. And the CRs, the control riders, are excellent with that. They pull you alongside and they talk to you and they give you pointers, or they let you know what you're not doing correctly and they talk to you about that. So it's just an overall great experience to come out here and be able to do this on a motorcycle at breakneck speed if you want.
Getting a bump is track day talk for getting moved up from one group to the next. Colin Morris tells us how.
So I am in the advanced group with Nesba. I got to the advanced group by coming and trying to learn as much as I could from the control riders who are here to help riders. And I just tried to take it easy, take it slow, and pay attention to what they're doing and what they're telling me. And it worked for me. Listening to those guys is really the best way to get better.
Now, track days are fun, but they can also benefit your riding.
It's been really beneficial. It's been, I only started riding motorcycles 3 years ago and started doing track days, and I probably would have had a lot more accidents if I hadn't have, because it really gives you that extra knowledge on the street that you need.
Make no mistake, doing a track day is not racing.
Out here, it's just for fun. You don't have to have a certain license to go ahead and it's not a competition. You're not competing with anybody, you're riding within yourself to learn how to ride the bike better. So huge difference between track days and racing, and a big difference in the paddock itself. A lot more friendly, a lot of fun, guys just coming out, enjoying the weekend, and big difference between the two. So no competition at all in track days.
And if you're still not convinced, here's some advice.
The gear is the most important part. You don't really need much to do to your bike except for tape it up, and then you're good to go. I mean, suit, leather, just get out here, it's safer.
I would say at least go out and try it. They have the ones where you can come out and just do a session or two free, and I mean, you can't beat that. And if you like to ride, it's the best way to do it.
People are intimidated by the idea, but if they were to come out and talk to people here, I think they would quickly understand that this is a group for all skills and abilities. You can come out here as a first time and really have a good time.
It's not going to cost you but $5 to get in the gate, even if that to watch. And then you can walk and talk with anybody in the paddock, and they're going to give you a first-hand view and hands-on view of how it is. It's just, you got to come out and check it out. If you ride a motorcycle and you're thinking about it, come on out and view it. You got nothing to lose.
Well, there you go. So let's stay on the computer and get Josh Hayes back in here. Track days, we saw it earlier in the show. Do you ever get a chance to go to track days and ride motorcycles? And if so, does it help you on the Superbike?
It's funny when we started racing, Greg. Track days were not, very available to people. You had to go and complete a race school, get a certificate of completion before you could go and prep your bike and go do track days even. So in the last 10 years, they've just boomed. There's so many track days out there. They make it very easily available for the regular street rider to take their machine with very little prep work, go out and do laps in a very safe environment with corner workers there to let you know if there's something different about the road than the last time you were there, and just get your kicks on the racetrack rather than doing it on the street. So I didn't get to do a lot, but when I'm done racing, I'm willing to bet I'll be doing a whole bunch of them.
And speaking of a whole bunch of them, let's talk about doing laps around Daytona in 2013. In the race, you didn't get a whole lot of them. So tell us what happened.
Really? That's where we're going to go with this one, huh?
Yeah, races, really, 2 races. So tell me what happened. Let's talk about it. We got to get it out there. People want to know.
Yeah. The weekend started off great. I was so fast in practice and qualifying. Things were clicking. Things were happening. It was really, really good, For the first race, I had the clutch issue. With new rules in Superbike for the camshafts, we've got a bit more horsepower. Daytona is a unique racetrack with just this huge gear, and it's so much bigger than anywhere else that we go that you end up slipping first gear for a really long time. On the start, I had a good one going, but Martin Cardenas came up alongside of me, and I may have hung on to the clutch quite a bit longer, making sure I got the most out of it rather than just letting the clutch out and bogging a little to make sure that I got the whole shot. I wanted to start from the front, and it didn't rear its ugly head until a few laps into the race. I was leading, but unfortunately things went bad, and we ended up breaking. So we worked on it on Saturday morning, and we were confident that we would have a good thing going for the race. Got a great start. Had a great race going, led half the race plus some, and I was out front. Things were clicking good. It finally opened it up to his 2-second advantage, and had an engine failure. So don't really know what happened. I just know that it broke, and but I'm confident that my crew is going to go home and they're going to show up at Road America with a winning machine, and let me go out there and get back to work.
When the motor let go, what emotions were you feeling at that moment?
A lot of things happened in a very short amount of time. First was when something started to go wrong, I was trying to figure out what it was. Was it a fueling issue? What was happening? It wasn't a hard clunk or anything like that. And could I finish the race? Even if I didn't finish in the lead, if I went backwards, could I just limp it around and finish? And then it kind of ended that pretty quickly, and I ended up pulling off to the side. And quite honestly, I've been around the show long enough to know that these things happen sometimes. My crew's been incredible to me for 4 years. They've never led me wrong or led me astray or let me down. So I've torn up quite a few of their motorcycles, and these things are going to happen. So I felt like, this is how it goes sometimes, and Lord knows we've all had some great and some really bad Daytonas, and so this kind of went along with most of my other Daytonas, and I got out alive. I didn't fall off the motorcycle. I didn't get hurt, and I'm healthy and more motivated than ever to show up and get back to work.
So what's the points gap then?
Big, I don't know. Quite honestly,
I do.
I'm 2 races down.
I do.
2 races down.
It's 47. Yeah, it's 47 points. So, so where's the motivation? Is it obviously, since you don't know, it's not really coming from the number 47, is it?
No, the number has nothing to do with it. You know, I have been in the position before where, you know, when you're behind in the points, nothing else matters except winning. You know, I've won 3 championships, and second will mean nothing to me in this championship. So my goal at this point is to go out there and steal every available point for the rest of the season. And quite honestly, the pressure of the championship right now, the pressure from Yamaha and everything sits on Josh Herron's shoulders. You know, Josh has got to figure out how to carry his momentum because he's at the front, right? He's leading the points. He's up there. So Josh has got to figure out how to put it together and put together the season of his life to pull off this championship. And I just have to see if I can get myself back into it. And then if I can do that, then we'll sit down and reevaluate what has to happen at that point. At this point, it's go for broke, no holds barred. I have nothing to lose, quite honestly.
All right, so you mentioned Josh Herron. Let's talk about your competition then for 2013. Briefly go over the riders that you know, are in the back of your mind that you're thinking about that have potential to really give you fits as you're trying to claw your way back into this championship.
You know, there's quite a few good riders out there. Josh Herron has got just an immense amount of talent. I think there's still some skills and some things that he's going to have to work on and figure out how to run the pace. Martin's had one learning year in Superbike, but he is still, I think, going through he's going to have an equally difficult time this year to reach a steady amount of success, because it's not just changing motorcycles, the 600 to the Superbike. It's also moving into a large team with a lot of personnel. Things can get very confusing, and having a very organized team and learning how to work with that can be pretty difficult. I know I had my learning, you know, my growing pains with that. Larry Pegram's had a good program, and now he's going to be on a Foremost Yamaha. Now that he's leasing a bike, he's going to have a motorcycle that's identical to mine, and just like Josh Herron also. And you know, so I think Larry's always been a good rider. I don't know if he's going to be there every single weekend, but it would be good if he was. I'd like to see it. But definitely, we all know he can pull some races out of his hat, you know, from time to time. The guy is definitely capable. And then Roger Hayden is another one. Roger's been a pretty steady force in AMA, and I've raced against him for a lot of years. And again, the last 2 years, he hasn't been very steady. We always expected him to be the guy there every weekend a bit, and it hasn't quite materialized. But any given race weekend, he could be there. And then his new teammate, Danny Eslick, again, moving into a big team with a lot of crew and a lot of personnel. You know, we're going to have to wait and see how things play out over the season. Another guy that's kind of like Josh, he's just got this enormous amount of talent. It's pretty intimidating even for me. Fortunately, I've spent a lot of years working on a lot of skills. And then there's a few dark horses out there too. You know, the Chris Fillmore and Taylor Knapp. Also Jeff May. Jeff May's always, that guy's steady. You know, he's a good, steady motorcycle rider. And if he keeps making some grounds, if Aaron Yates is able to add something to that program and help them move forward, who knows, man? There's a lot of good riders out there.
When do we get to see you in action next?
Road America in Wisconsin at the end of May. So that's when we start getting kind of more steady with the season and probably racing about every other weekend. Should be good.
All right, Josh, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. All right, since Josh talked about his clutch problems at Daytona, I was thinking about our motorcycle slang segment. So this week we focus on the controls or the handlebar area and talk about a few things: master cylinder, remote reservoir or reservoir, and clutch perch. Now the master cylinder kind of looks like this. When you pull the brake lever, it pushes the small piston or cylinder inside, which moves the brake fluid through the brake lines, pushes the pistons out in the brake caliper, which causes the brake pads to clamp on the brake rotor. Got it? Now the remote reservoir is what houses the extra brake fluid that keeps the system closed so no air gets in. On some motorcycles, like cruisers, you'll have the reservoir attached to the master cylinder, no remote, just reservoir. Now on the other side, you have the clutch perch. That's what holds the clutch lever to the bar. Dirt bike riders often break the clutch perch if they drop their bike, an easy repair. So there you go, beginner riders. More knowledge for you. Now if you have anything you're not sure about and you want to ask a question, send an email, show@gregsgaragetv.com. So that's it for this show. We have a section on the website for you folks to send us your videos or, whatever, of your garage, your motorcycle, whatever. Get a camera and shoot some simple stuff, post it up online, and send us the link via show@gregsgaragetv.com or any other information that you'd like to send. Also, if you have a question about something power sports related and I can connect you with someone in the industry via Skype, get that question to me so I can get that question answered. Again, show@gregsgaragetv.com. We have a few Greg's Garage TV t-shirts left. You can order those on the site for $22 as well. That money helps go to support a show. So support a show. Thanks everyone from NESBA for letting us invade their track day. You can check them out at nesba.com. And for those guys who gave us their GoPro footage, Justin, Dennis, and Matt, thank you so much. It's very much appreciated. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to spread the word. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.